All right, we are going to be starting our next unit. You guys took a little pre-test yesterday, just kind of to get you familiar with some of those poetry terms. Most of them you've probably heard before in your other literature classes. So some of those should have been ones that you were familiar with, and then there were some that you probably are not familiar with. So for today, we are just going to take a few notes, and then we're also going to do a worksheet to practice some of those skills. Okay, so the first thing is that most poems are written in lines. So, for example, in that one that we're looking at, the poem called March, a blue day would be a line, a blue jay would be a line, and a good beginning. Those are all lines of the poem. If you have a group of lines, that's called a stanza. So one crow, melting snow, spring's winning, okay, or that one that I read previously, a blue day, a blue jay, and a good beginning. Those are called stanzas. And they separate different ideas, kind of like you would use when you're writing and you have a paragraph. Those act like the same things. Okay, so in this particular poem, it has the two stanzas. Now, a free verse poem, that one is a little different and it doesn't use rhyme or patterns. It can vary in lengths of lines, stanzas, and subjects. So if you look over here, when you find out in the last cookie, which cookie is spelled incorrectly, but they did that on purpose, okay? You'll see that when you find out in the last cookie and out of the jar and me and a bunch of, those lines are a little bit longer than the ones in the middle. Okay, so this one is called revenge. When I find out who took the last cookie out of the jar and left me a bunch of stale, old, messy crumbs, I'm going to take me a handful of take a handful and crumb up someone's bed. Okay, so in that first stanza, he's setting the stage and talking about finding who took the last cookie. We don't see anything that rhymes. Out and cookie or took and cookie, none of those rhyme. And there's not really a particular pattern. It doesn't have some of them kind of have a rhythm like a song. This one doesn't. So that's a free verse poem. Yesterday in that pretest, there was tone and there was mood. Mood is the emotion that the poet creates, and that's how you feel when you're reading it. Okay, so it's the atmosphere or emotion in the poem. It can be happy, angry, silly, sad, excited, fearful, thoughtful. Poets use words and images to create a mood, and the author's purpose helps to determine that. So if you know that they're writing one, for example, as a tribute to their father who has passed away, or something to be silly, then that helps you determine how to read it. Here's an example, Barefoot Days by Rachel Field. In the morning, very early, that's the time I love to go, barefoot where the ferns grow curly and the grass is cool beneath each toe. On a summer morning, oh, on a summer morning, that's when the birds go by, up in the sunny slopes of air, and each rose has a butterfly or a golden bee to wear, and I am glad in every toe. Such a summer morning, oh, such a summer morning, oh. Okay, so what do you think the mood is of this particular poem? Okay, we know that it's not a sad poem or an angry. It's talking about loving to go and the grass being cool between your toes and the birds and the sunny slopes. So the moods of this poem is going to be happy. Okay, here's the next one, Mad Song. I shut my door to keep you out. Won't do no good to stand and shout. Won't listen to a thing you say. Just time to look yourself away. I lock my door to keep you here until I'm sure you disappear. This one, the title itself tells you that this is kind of an angry poem. Okay, so the poem, shutting a door, keeping you out, standing and shouting, all those things. Here's another one, poem. So we can't get really any clues from this title, but it says, I loved my friend, he went away from me. There's nothing more to say. The poem ends soft as it began. I loved my friend. Okay, so this one's kind of bittersweet or sad or regretful, talking about loving a friend that went away. Maybe they quit being friends, or maybe the friend, something happened to them tragic. So this one is kind of sad because of those things, even though we're not able to get any clues from the poem itself, or from the title, excuse me. So that kind of gives you an introduction to mood. You want to be looking for the words that the author uses, maybe the rhythm that they use, those types of things.